Hey, 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 happy Tuesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, shockingly enough, GamingGang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard, everyone. Tonight is Tuesday, August 19th, 2025. This is live stream 1224. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out it's super casual around here. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. And then we will usually take a first look at a game, which we'll be doing tonight. Or every once in a while, I'll just tackle a topic. And every blue moon, just do the news and then hang around chewing the fat with chat. But tonight, we're actually going to dive on in and take a look at the Lord of the Rings Roleplaying Starter Set, as well as the One Ring Starter Set. These are identical except for the mechanics. So, of course, the One Ring uses the One Ring, and the Lord of the Rings Roleplaying uses 5e. So these come with dice, so the dice are a little bit different, but everything else is going to be identical. But both of these are available now, and I know a lot of people are very curious about them. So we're going to dive on in and take a peek. But should point out, we always tackle the tabletop gaming news first here. So if you are tuning in live, it's probably going to be about 35, maybe 40 minutes before we get into these unboxings. So if you're watching live, kick back, relax, enjoy yourself. If you're watching after the fact, maybe even on Memorex, there will be timestamps. You can jump past the news if you would like. And depending on the device you happen to be watching this on, timestamps might be right there in the timeline of the video too, making life even easier. Of course, when you're not watching videos here on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And then, of course, because this is a live show, there is chat available. You do have to be a subscriber to the channel for at least 60 minutes before you can take part in chat. It's how I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you have been a subscriber for at least an hour and want to say howdy, maybe you got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my absolute best to respond. First out the gate tonight is our good friend of the show, the Madman. Semper Buffo is with us, as is Sean O'Donnell, Wallona's Cave, Chris Lundgren, and I will take a guess Buddy is also joining us. Yes, Buddy the Cockatiel. And I do see Kevin R. Smith and DB are also hanging with the gang. And I will take a guess the lovely and talented Miss Sarah D might be lurking in the shadows as another of our chat moderators alongside the Madman. Very nice. So welcome aboard, everybody. Plus Buddy, the Cockatiel. Matthew Elias and Robert Santon are also jumping on into chat. So is Lord Cost 2000. So welcome to the three of you also. So let's jump right on into the news, because now beaming into stores for Modipius Entertainment is the Star Trek 2nd Edition Technical Manual. Here's what I know. From its inception, Star Trek has illustrated humanity and its allies and adversaries exploring the galaxy with a wide variety of tools and technologies at their disposal. From tricorders to phasers, deflector dishes to replicators, all the key technological achievements of the future are detailed in this book. This technical manual is essential reading for any casual Star Trek fan or hardcore gamer interested in learning more about the wondrous technologies, ships, and weapons available to Starfleet personnel, as well as members of many other species inhabiting the Star Trek universe, including the Klingons, Romulans, and Orions. Use the contents of this book to learn more about the gear, weapons, and technologies of the Star Trek universe, and to enhance the Star Trek adventures, missions, and campaigns you engage in with your friends. The 129-page full-color Star Trek Adventures 2nd Edition Technical Manual, say that 5 times fast, features details on the most commonly used gear across the Star Trek universe, including pads, communication devices, replicators, and holography. Insight on Starfleet's diplomatic corps, the universal translator, second contact supplies, and information on how a crew might respond to distress calls. A wealth of information on a wide variety of scientific gear, tricorders, and types of laboratories, and advice on conducting away missions and some of the gear an away team might utilize. Details on medical practices and medical gear, including sick bays, biobeds, medical treatments, and drugs. Guidance on using transporters to support treatment, and medical enhancements such as various forms of chair support, genetic engineering, and cybernetics. There's insight on diagnostic levels, transporters, turbolifts, and environmental and utility systems, as well as digital engineering elements such as computer systems and their various components, as well as detailed information on a wide variety of close combat weapons, ranged weapons, and body armor from across the Star Trek universe, and lots more. This 2nd edition supplement is compatible with both the 1st edition Star Trek Adventures as well as the Captain's Log solo role-playing game. This 129-page hardcover with PDF carries an MSRP of $41.99. If you want to just grab the PDF alone, you can do so over at DriveThruRPG for $18.99. So I know a lot of folks were waiting for this to come out in hard copy. It is now arriving in stores. I think it's been out probably for about 4 months in PDF already over at DriveThruRPG. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty impressive. I have not had an opportunity to really dip my toes into the 2nd edition of Star Trek Adventures. I would like to actually take a peek at it because I reviewed the 1st edition core book, really liked it, especially when they got rid of that black background. Oof, that was tough. That was tough on the old peepers. But I heard it's been streamlined in some ways, and it was relatively lightweight to start with. So I'm kind of curious about that. Let's see. Kathy Evans has jumped on into chat. Yes, Sarah D is also with us. She did not get washed away in the storms yesterday. Yeah, we've had some pretty heavy rains the past couple of days. Yesterday, we had a really good storm rocking and rolling. Night before that, it was pretty solid too. On to our next news piece. Something else that's making its way into print is Deadlands Night Train, the 25th anniversary edition. And I've got the lowdown from Pinnacle Entertainment Group. Death rides the rails. 25 years ago, one famous adventure encapsulated Deadlands' promise of dangerous drifters battling unliving horrors across the American West so completely it became legend itself. John Goff's Night Train. Celebrate the bloody anniversary of a masterpiece with this box set, updated for Savage Worlds Adventure Edition and with gorgeous new art and accessories to bring the fun to life, or unlife, as the case may be. If you've never played Night Train, this is your chance to jump aboard. If you've ridden the rails before, you'll find new extras that make this the definitive experience. The Night Train lurks the tracks of the West, pulling in after dark to unleash its hellish cargo of starving, feral vampires, spoilers, on unsuspecting towns along the rails. For decades, the Night Train has terrorized conventions and tabletops. What will you do when its deadly whistle blows? Can your posse survive the onslaught? Many others have tried and failed. Included in the box set is Night Train, the legendary blood-soaked original in Savage Worlds for the first time. For Whom the Whistle Blows, John Goff's dark sequel to Night Train. The Bank Job, an all-new adventure by John Goff, featuring a third encounter with the notorious vehicle. A set of 6 archetype cards, dangerous strangers to put in the Night Train's path. 2 double-sided battle maps. 3 infested towns and connecting rail spur to fight through. There's a pawn set, which features a horde of feral Nosferatu and some innocent townsfolk for them to terrorize. Also includes the locomotive and cars for the Night Train itself. 4 wanted posters for the low-down outlaws skulking in the towns, as well as 10 toe tags, a special prize to hand out to the hombres who fall along the way. You'll also find a special Night Train wild die. Keep in mind, PDFs are included. Now, this does require the Savage Worlds core rules as well as Deadlands The Weird West core rules in order to utilize. This box set with PDFs carries an MSRP of $49.99. If you want to just score the PDFs alone, you can do so over at DriveThruRPG for $24.99. I have never played Night Train. I've never actually taken a peek at it. If memory serves, and I'm sure there's probably somebody out there in chat, I don't know, maybe Kevin R. Smith, who knows this, but I could have swore, didn't Night Train introduce vampires to Deadlands? Because Deadlands had been out for a while, and they didn't have vampires. And then Night Train gets released, and it's kind of like the big secret about the adventure are the vampires, that the Night Train is operated by vampires, or it contains vampires. Like I said, I have not seen this close up in any edition, but I could have swore that's kind of its claim to fame, is that it introduced vampires to Deadlands. That's why I kind of think it's kind of surprising that the vampire angle is like all over the box cover, all over the sell sheet info. So Kevin R. Smith says, sorry, I only know a little about the history of Deadlands. Never played it or collected the books. Kevin R. Smith's usually our kind of our go-to historian with games and such. Shozama85 is joining us. Welcome. Like I said, I would like to actually get a peek at this. Kind of cool. Kind of cool. All right, moving right along. There is a new money-saving Fanatical deal, which features the 5th edition fantasy series from Goodman Games. And I've got the deets on the deal. Embark on a series of epic adventures with the 5th edition fantasy bundle. Within this treasure trove of a collection are 36 all-new to Fanatical RPG books from their good friends over at Goodman Games. Whether you're a level 1 adventurer in the Dungeons & Dragons world just starting out to make a name for yourself, or a gruff, grizzled veteran whose name strikes fear in every kobold clan, there's something for everyone in this sensational collection. Tier 1 introduces you to this cracking set with 4 issues of 5th edition fantasy aimed at entry-level adventures, such as Tales from the Emerald Isle, comprising a collection of short adventures with a nod to Irish folklore. Fight off furious fae, do battle with a duplicitous druid, and so much more. Tier 2 summons a total of 12 books to enhance your game nights and further your character's experience. Embark on perilous journeys with books such as Eye of the Leviathan, tasked with investigating a gruesome murder at a sleepy port town. Darker deeds and ancient evils may be about to stir. Tier 3 is where the whole treasure trove of role-playing game goodness is unlocked, with all 36 products that will have you adventuring and battling for years. Dare you venture into the dreaded crypt of the Devil Lich? This unique design pays homage to the popular meat grinder style dungeons and has been lovingly updated for 5e. It's a must-play for all die-hard adventurers. Also available in this tier are modules, supplements, and more for the Dark Tower campaign. Monsters and Magic of Dark Tower showcases a collection of new material to enhance your game. The original Adventures Reincarnated Dark Tower is a 3-volume collection fully converted to 5e, with over 500 pages exploring the world and legacy of this classic. There's no need to check for traps. This incredible offer is at your fingertips. Act now before this offer is banished to the abyss. All products included in this promotion will be redeemed through DriveThruRPG. Now you can jump aboard for as little as $1. If you want, you can go all in for $12.99 to score all 36 PDFs. This is running for a bit. You'll find these savings run through October 8th. And I do have to point out, this is a slamming deal because just the PDF for Dark Tower itself is something like $75 or $79, something like that. You get all of it for $12.99. Unbelievable. You don't get deals this good at Humble, right? Talk about Humble bundle deals all the time, how exceptional they are. This is actually one of the absolute best bundle deals I have ever seen. No joke. No joke. Chris Lundgren asks, does it include the classic adventure or just it's not 5.5, it's 5e. None of this stuff is for 5.5. None of these releases are for new Dungeons and Dragons. It's all 5e. Roger Perdome is joining us in chat. Man says Shane Hensley intentionally excluded vampires from the original Deadlands core books. He felt the dominant cultural portrayals were too urbane and sensual to fit the setting atmosphere. Well. Are you trying to say that Dracula is a dirty book? It sort of was for its time. So, moving right along, Brotherwise Games has released the digital edition of the Stormlight World Guide for the Cosmere role-playing game. Here's what I know. Your guide to the world of Roshar. Brandon Sanderson's epic fantasy series, The Stormlight Archive, is renowned for its intricate and imaginative world building. This guide to the history, cultures, and key figures of Roshar is also the first official art book for the series. Whether you're new to the setting or a longtime reader eager for new details, the Stormlight World Guide is a beautifully illustrated tome that's packed with canonical lore. This book is also an essential resource for the Cosmere role-playing game. Together with the Stormlight Handbook, it contains everything you need to begin your journey in a world of adventure and investiture. The World Guide is a must-have for tabletop role-playing fans new to the setting and longtime readers eager for new details. It contains 8 chapters about the Cosmere and Roshar. Learn about the history of Roshar, important characters you may meet in your adventures, and more. Also includes a detailed adversary and bestiary guide for game masters. Also includes over 125 illustrations. I almost said 215. No, wrong answer, Jeff. 125 illustrations from some of the best fantasy artists in the world. The 280-page PDF is now available over at DriveThruRPG for $35. The hardcover is going to land in stores on October 29th. It will carry an MSRP of $59.99. Well. Gotta say, artwork looks really cool. I know nothing about these Stormlight archives. I've never really gotten into Brandon Sanderson. I tried getting into Mistborn. Just didn't happen. I mean, yeah, I don't have anything against the author. I'm just saying, I tried. I just couldn't. Didn't grab me. Didn't grab me. So, but I know a lot of people are super, super excited about this role-playing game. And we might actually see a review from Sammy of both the Cosmere role-playing game, as well as what I'm going to talk about in our last news piece, because the Action Grimoire is available in PDF for the Legend in the Mist role-playing game. And here's the skinny from Son of Oak Game Studio. Suggestions and inspiration for actions in Legend in the Mist. A handy reference guide with dozens of suggestions for actions heroes can take in the rustic fantasy game, their effects, and their consequences. With its open-ended tag-based rules, Legend in the Mist allows you to simulate and resolve any imaginable action that players could want to take in a scene. From breaking into a locked chest to riding a mount, from brewing potions to summoning spirits, from fording a river to shooting arrows at a giant spider. All actions of a rustic fantasy adventure can be resolved using the same rules and with a single roll, making way for the story you want to tell. The Action Grimoire is a supplement to the core rules of Legend in the Mist, offering an encyclopedic collection of suggestions for typical player actions and how the game's roles and effects can be used to resolve them. It can be used by players and narrators alike for inspiration for actions and consequences, or as a quick reference on how to resolve specific actions and situations during the game. The 100-page PDF is now available at DriveThruRPG for $14.95. The hardcover with PDF can currently be pre-ordered for a special price of $19.95 through August 31st. After that, the regular MSRP of $29.95 will kick in. Now, expected delivery of the physical book is this January. Of course, obviously enough, the PDF is available right now. So sweet. Very nice. I am very curious about this. I am very, very curious about this. I had touched base with Son of Oak Game Studio a while back. And I guess they prefer to just do PDFs for reviews. So sadly, not going to get on the same page with that. But like I said, I think we're going to get a review from Sammy. It'll be a written review, won't be video, but still, there you go. So Sean O'Donnell is pointing out that if the original adventures reincarnated Dark Tower is like the regular PDFs, it should have the original adventure. If it's including, you know what? I think it did say it includes all 3 volumes. So yes, it would include the original adventure. So I thought that was a separate book this time around. Maybe not. Maybe not. Yes, I know. When I was at Gen Con, I was so tempted. I almost got it. Damn that auction. Kevin R. Smith says there's definitely some excitement. I believe he's either talking about the Cosmere role-playing game or Legend in the Mist. They were asking, wasn't it the biggest role-playing game Kickstarter ever? If that was the case, then I would think you're talking about the Cosmere role-playing game. That is very possible. Because I know, hasn't Brandon Sanderson, hasn't he financed his writing by way of Kickstarter? Hasn't he been doing that? I could have swore he kickstarted, it may have even been the Stormlight Archive. I don't know. Maybe I'm just, cracking up. Maybe it's like, what the hell is Jeff talking about, man? Brandon Sanderson's never done that. Hey, once again, I'm not saying anything bad about Brandon Sanderson. Mistborn just didn't grab me. Now, Elliot, my best friend, he's read all of Mistborn. In fact, that's why he wanted to get the Mistborn deck building game at Gen Con, which I will assume we're going to play next time the gang gets together and Elliot's with us. So we'll find out. We shall see. So that's it for the news tonight. Of course, I have mentioned DriveThruRPG. Don't forget the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you're going to visit DriveThruRPG, Dungeon Masters Guild, Storytellers Vault, Wargame Vault, any of those One Bookshelf sites, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get 5% of that sale, and all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Of course, if you like the video in 3D, if you like the video, if you dig the channel, if you find the Gaming Gang to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, you can always support the outlet in a couple of other ways. First, by making a one-time donation by way of PayPal. Hell, you can buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. Oh, that's luscious. I don't know, could soda be luscious? I don't know. And of course, you can become a monthly member of our Patreon. You will find links to those in the show notes. Also in the show notes, you shall find an invite link to our Discord server. It's absolutely free to join, free to be a member. So be sure to hang with the gang over on Discord. And of course, I always like to give a shout out to our monthly Patreon members. So at the $5 tier, we've got Gustavo Cavalho, Jason Lawman, Caval, Kevin R. Smith, Sean O'Donnell, and Talzek. Our $10 tier features Matt W., Dan Webb, Game Cat, Pete Strakulich, RPG Munch, Tessie Trekkie, and Tier 2 DM. And the $25 tier features our good friend of the show, the Madman, as well as Agile Monk, who usually is actually popping into chat right about this time. Usually a few minutes afterwards, but there you go. Sweet. Charlotte House says only pop can be luscious, not soda. Funny enough, I have never called Coke or any soft drink. I've never called it pop. I've always called it soda. And it was kind of funny because I remember people talking about when I lived in Arizona, they said, "Hey, you're from the Midwest. Don't you call it pop?" And I'm like, "No, I've always called it soda." Although it's kind of weird, if you go to Texas, everything is a Coke, even if it's not a Coke. So it's like if you want like an orange crush, you would ask for an orange Coke. At least it used to be that way. I don't know if it still is. Don't know if it still is that way or not. DB says Canadians call it pop. The Madman says it's pop there in Michigan. DB said they had a store called the Pop Shop. Sweet. It was the Pop Shop Hop. Anyway, we're going to dive on in and take a look at the One Ring starter set as well as the Lord of the Rings role-playing starter set from Free League Publishing in just a few moments. Did want to mention, somebody had asked last week if I had watched Alien Earth yet. I did. I watched the first 2 episodes. I think it's a new episode tonight. So I'll probably watch it after I finish up doing the show and, you know, timestamps and stuff. I gotta say, I'm impressed. I mean, it looks like film. I mean, it looks like a feature film. There are some things that make absolutely no sense whatsoever. There are some things that I'm sure they're going to, you know, explain later on down the line. And then there are other things that I'm just sort of like, I am impressed how they are sticking with the whole like alien world, the world building, right? It's supposed to be 95 years from now. And the technology, like all of the like graphics and stuff like that, like the computer screens all look like they're from the 80s and stuff. They could have gone the way of like Star Trek Discovery, where it's like holograms. Wait a second. This is before the original series. How do they have holograms? They didn't have holograms in the original series. That is pretty cool. Kevin R. Smith says, loved how they copied the interior design of the Nostromo for the Weyland-Yutani ship. Yes, I thought that was kind of cool too. And it looked like Alien. Those scenes that they shot, you put them side by side. I did not, but if you put them side by side, I would think it would look pretty good. Kevin R. Smith says it's supposed to be 2 years before the first movie. Yes. JD Sewell, 3002 is with us. Says hardened electronics. Yes. W4 says, I'm tired of the boy genius trillionaire trope in the Alien Earth series. Yeah, he really seems like a serious piece of shit. I was like, yeah, he wore out his welcome with me too. Like, towards the end of like the second episode, I'm like, are we gonna have to put up with this asshole for like all 10 episodes or whatever, 8 episodes, whatever it's gonna be? I was like, I don't know. But yeah, I was impressed. It's pretty cool. Yes. And I always like stuff with Timothy Oliphant. He's always good. If you have not watched Justified, you owe it to yourself to watch Justified. Good stuff. Really good stuff. Alrighty then. So, once again, don't forget a couple of ways for you to help. Actually, it's a trio of ways that you can support the outlet. DriveThruRPG, PayPal, Patreon. And tip of the cap to all of you who utilize any of those. W. Ford said, had flashbacks to Lex Luthor in Batman versus Superman. Yeah, it's like the trillionaire douche. I really don't like using that word. Trillionaire. No. So Chris Lundgren says, they love the Mothership role-playing game. They've made characters, but haven't run it yet. Kevin R. Smith says, I think the premise of Alien Earth would make a good Starfinder dungeon crawl. Well, maybe with a less dark mood. I would think, well, yeah, I'm kind of curious now because we've got Alien Evolved coming from Free League. In fact, I think backers have actually gotten, I think they're beta PDFs. I don't think they're the finished product yet for Alien Evolved from Free League Publishing. I wonder if they will release any supplemental material down the line featuring stuff from Alien Earth. That'd be kind of cool. Troy Cornelson is with us once again. Welcome back. Sean Al says, Mothership is like a basic RPG light system. Very smooth. Although we've talked about this quite a few times. In fact, it seems every time we mention Mothership, I tend to toss this out there. It's important for game masters to realize when the characters fail at their role, it doesn't necessarily mean they always fail at what they're trying to do. That they can succeed, but there's going to be a complication or a new challenge or something like that. Chris Lundgren says, for a Hulu Disney show, how much on the gore so far in the new Alien show? It's gory. It is gory. No doubt about that. I actually finally had an opportunity to see Superman, and I also caught 28 Years Later, which I guess they're planning on making a trilogy. I was like, okay, cool. I like both. I heard there are people who didn't like the end of 28 Years Later, but I guess they didn't realize that Danny Boyle is planning 2 more movies that are like going to build off of that. So that's why it ended the way it did. All right. So tonight we're going to be diving on in and taking a look at the One Ring starter set, as well as the Lord of the Rings role-playing starter set from Free League Publishing. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
Folks, and a hearty welcome to our drive-in theater. We have a wonderful evening's entertainment lined up for you, one that will provide several hours of pleasurable relaxation and diversion for you and your family. Did you fail to dress up for tonight's show? No tie, an old shirt and slacks, a house dress? Well, don't give it a thought. We're glad you came as you are. We just want you to enjoy yourselves. Don't forget to visit our refreshment center during the intermission or any time. You love the tasty array of snacks we have to offer. So will the youngsters. Everything is quality and so good. We hope you'll make this a weekly visit. Bring the family. Bring your friends. There are always wonderful new pictures to see, delightful snacks to nibble, a gay, pleasant evening for all. Oh, a word of caution. Don't drive over 10 miles an hour in the theater area for your safety's sake. And Mom or Pop, go with the kids when they leave the car. We hope you have a wonderful time. Come back soon.
It's refreshment time, and our refreshment stand is loaded with good things to eat. There's crispy, crunchy popcorn, and hot, delicious buttered popcorn, lots of candy, and frosty, refreshing cold drinks. Why not treat yourself at the refreshment center now?
True! It's true! It's true! It's true! It's true! That's strawberries inside a box of cornflakes. Strawberries? Yeah, right inside the box is the cornflakes. What's it called? New Post Cornflakes and Strawberries. What? New Post Cornflakes and Strawberries. Hey, the strawberries are right inside the box with the cornflakes. That's what we've been telling you. They took off the green thing, then they sliced them and made them instant. Put on the nails. Milk makes them juicy again, like when you pick them yourself. I got
This volunteer doesn't drink Wilkins Instant Coffee.
I hope you know what you're doing.
Oh, I do.
Beyond the farthest reaches of the imagination and deep within the human heart. Here, in a time when the world was young, in what is known as the Third Age of Middle-earth, a tale is told of deeds and beings, a tale of a day when a great shadow will fall across the earth, and ancient sorcerers will lock in mortal combat with the phantoms of the night. Then will the raging War of the Rings draw the blood of heroes, and the final destiny of all mankind will be written. Then will mortal men with dwarf lords and elven princes come to stand together in a single noble army and thunder against all the hosts of darkness at the very gates of doom. This is the legend of Middle-earth as it is written in the hearts of men. It is a world more real than any other, a haunting, forbidden world where innocence can't overcome evil and a single dream is more powerful than 1,000 realities. This is the magnificent gift that J.R.R. Tolkien left to the human heart, and that fantasy films now brings to the screen. The vision beyond imagination. The Lord of the Rings.
I have to say, I was never a big fan of the rotoscoping. And I know Ralph Bakshi started to really get into the rotoscoping, especially with that Lord of the Rings. There was a little bit of rotoscoping in Wizards. I remember it's been a long time since I saw Wizards, though. So yes, had to give you some Lord of the Rings action there. In fact, I was going to share a Lord of the Rings Lego commercial until I got a copyright flag on it. And I'm like, whoops, got to take that out. It's like, womp, womp, womp. But hey, at least I got to share the Ralph Bakshi Lord of the Rings. Very nice. Speaking of the Lord of the Rings, the One Ring starter set, as well as the Lord of the Rings role-playing starter set, both are Overhill and Underhill, are available from our friends over at Free League Publishing. Both these box sets are in stores now. They carry MSRPs of $24.99 each. You can grab them in PDF over at DriveThruRPG for $14.99 each. J-Man is with us tonight. Says should look at a space role-playing game called Those Dark Places. I have heard of that before. DB says they did not like 28 Years Later. What a dog rocket. So bad. See, I liked it. But you know, it's a Danny Boyle movie. You go into it thinking, oh, yeah, we're going to get a, cool zombie movie. Yeah, you're going to be disappointed. Sorry. And Chris Lundgren says that he and his wife are rewatching Emergency. Yikes. Boy, that's going way back. Somebody mentioned getting dressed up to go to the theater. Funny enough, when I was in my early 20s, you would dress up. Well, you would wear a shirt and tie, at least a sports coat, if you were flying. I always, because I flew quite a bit. Well, okay, take that back. Probably flew 3-4 times a year when I was in my mid to late 20s. And At that point in time, men always wore at least a tie. That is not something you see anymore. People sit there and clip their toenails on flights. I know that because I've seen it. It's like, yikes. All right, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got the One Ring starter set. And of course, I have to point out, my good friends over at Free League Publishing were kind enough to provide me with this review copy as well as the Lord of the Rings role-playing starter set. The reality is these are both identical except for the dice and the mechanics. Because as I had mentioned earlier, this uses the One Ring mechanics. This uses the 5E mechanics. So this is going to have 20-sided dice. This will not. I think it's got a couple of 20-siders in it. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to take a look at the One Ring starter set. I got to be honest, I don't really think we need to open up the Lord of the Rings role-playing starter set because it's going to be the same exact thing, except for the mechanics. In fact, I saw the backs of the boxes. They are like almost identical. Semper Buffo says they like the artwork on the One Ring starter set. The Lord of the Rings role-playing starter set, I want to say that cover artwork is from the Game Master screen, if I recall correctly. Not far ahead were dreary hills rising higher and higher, dark with trees. On some of them were old castles with an evil look, as if they had been built by wicked people. That is from The Hobbit. You're enjoying a rare, quiet evening at the inn in Bree when a hunter joins your table to share a tale about a dark threat looming over the North Downs. However, you are not merely simple guests at the Prancing Pony. You are members of a company. This is your self-appointed duty to inquire about the bone-chilling dangers that might emerge from the houseless hills beyond. Are you ready to take the road to adventure? This new and beginner-friendly starter set for the One Ring tabletop role-playing game based on the works of J.R.R. Tolkien provides all you need to embark on your journeys in Middle-earth. Immerse yourself in the world set between the time of Bilbo's first adventure and the events of the Lord of the Rings, exploring the lone lands of Eriador, taking on the roles of characters whose stories are yet to be told. It's going to tell us what the box set contains. And we are going to just open it up and take a peek rather than read about it. All right, so here we've got our dice. So these are custom dice. So we have our D12s. We've got a game catalog here. We have some stands for our standees. Oh, look, candy. Get rid of that. So I believe this sheet is going to tell us what's in the box. What's in the box? So this is going to get us started. So you're going to have to decide who's going to be the lore master. Yeah, well, at my table, I know who it's going to be. The forever game master. As lore master, read the rules and adventure booklets and familiarize yourself, I should say, with the contents. Let each player pick one of the pre-generated player heroes included in this box set and let the game begin. And we also have the additional releases for the One Ring second edition. So here we've got the rules. And the dice kind of have like a cherry look to them. Kind of wild. And they are cut dice. So we have the 6 on the 6-sided die. Also has a symbol there. I think the 12 and the 1, maybe it's just, is it the 12? No. I forget what base on this has. Because one is the Eye of Sauron. Well, we'll find out. We will find out. Chris Leonard asks, is this the 5.5 or the other? Well, right here, it's the One Ring. It's going to tell you. Right there. The One Ring is its own game. Let's take a look at the rules here. So far, I am impressed by what we've got for $25. Because you may recall, I reviewed the Tales from the Loop starter set, which, if I remember right, I think it was like $39.99 or something, and it was hardly anything. So, Kevin R. Smith says the D12s have numbers from 1 to 10. Then it's the Eye of Sauron and Gandalf runes. This is the One Ring role-playing game based on The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, two extraordinary works of fiction by the beloved author and respected academic John Ronald Reuel Tolkien. With these books, Tolkien introduced readers to his greatest creation, the world of Middle-earth, a mythic land from a remote past. With the One Ring, Middle-earth is yours to explore. You'll travel the land searching for clues about the return of the shadow and have the chance to play a part in the struggle against the enemy. It is the twilight of the Third Age. So we'll get an example of play. So we have our adventuring. So this session, an average adventure should occupy the lore master and the players for about 2 or 3 sessions of play, with each session clocking in at around 3 hours of gaming. Generally speaking, every single session tends to follow the same basic structure: introduction, scenes, end of the session. So we've got playing the scenes, frame the scene, the players react, resolve, the scene. So we've got our culture and calling for our player heroes. We've got our attributes. So we have strength, heart, and wits. Then we have our target numbers. So our 3 attribute ratings are used to determine a player hero's standard target number, or TNs, the default difficulty levels for all roles to resolve in action. Each attribute TN is equal to 20 minus its corresponding attribute score. A lower TN is better. We also have skills, skill categories, favored skills. Action resolution. A game session takes the form of a continuous conversation between the lore master and the players, who collaborate in bringing to life a series of scenes in which the player heroes are the protagonists. The lore master should only ask for a die roll if there is a possibility that a player's chosen action might fail. If not, the action succeeds automatically. Rolls are often made to avoid danger, acquire knowledge, or influence uncooperative lore master characters, otherwise known as NPCs. Kevin R. Smith says, did you say this is only $25? That's an awesome deal, especially for a starter set that lets you play non-hobbits. Yes, because the original starter set did have your player characters were all hobbits in the Shire. Who rolls? Determining who is going to make the roll is easy in the case of actions chosen by the players, but it can be less so if the roll is being made as a reaction to something described by the lore master. Often it is advisable to have a single player roll for the company. To do so, the players simply choose the player hero who is best suited to the task at hand. So talking about which ability, making the roll your feat die, that is the 12-sided die here, plus a number of success dice. Those are the success dice, the 6-siders. equal to the rating of the appropriate ability. The ability rating is 0. Roll only the feat die. Add up the numerical results on all dice, comparing the total to the target number associated with the rolled ability. If the roll total is equal to or higher than the target number, the roll is a success. Otherwise, it has failed. As a rule, players only have one attempt at anything that is resolved with a die roll. When they succeed or fail, they have done their best. If the lore master allows it, a failed action can be attempted again by the same player hero if they are again using a different ability. So how to read the feat dice. So we've got 1 through 10, and then we've got the Gandalf rune and the Eye of Sauron. The Gandalf rune is the greatest result you can get on a feat die. When the die comes up showing the Gandalf rune, the action succeeds regardless of the total result of the roll. The Eye of Sauron icon is the worst result possible on a feat die. When the feat die comes up showing the Sauron icon, the feat die result counts as a 0. Talking about our target numbers, degrees of success. A roll result that achieves its target number or resulted in the rune. I suppose they probably mean the Gandalf rune. And produces one or more T icons, which are on the 6s. Is an outcome of a superior quality. The greater the number of T icons, whatever this rune is supposed to be, the better. So, talking about your success dice. The One Ring mechanically is pretty easy. It's pretty simple. We have endurance and hope. Endurance and hope are what keep the player heroes on the road, providing them with reserves of energy and with that additional momentum that sometimes is the only chance a hero has to prevail. The maximum and current endurance and hope values of the player heroes are tracked on their character sheets. Endurance represents a player hero's resistance and his loss as a result of exertion and of suffering harm. Then we have hope, which is a hero's reserve of spiritual fortitude and positivity. During play, players can spend hope to gain extra success dice to roll or to trigger the effects of certain cultural virtues. Then we have the shadow, because there is corruption from the shadow. Chris Leonard says they're not a fan of the colored print choice for the rules. They're all right. It's okay. This is the background color that we get with the various different Lord of the Rings releases from Free League Publishing. As far as production quality, it's actually pretty close to that really thick paper stock that we get. Just by touch, it feels a little bit thinner, but not by much. So we've got our combat. Opening volleys, we have different combat stances. In fact, the first starter set for the One Ring had a deck of dice with combat stances. We've got engagement, player hero actions, intimidate foes, rally comrades, protect companion, prepare shot, resolving attacks. Then we have council. So there is a council sequence. Player heroes meet many travelers and wanderers along the road. When the company meets one or more lore master characters to discuss or negotiate something of importance, a council occurs. Note that these rules don't need to be used for every verbal exchange. However, everyday circumstances are better represented using simple skill rolls. And we have the journey portion, the journey phase, which is actually something that the One Ring is well known for. A company will often end up traveling across long leagues of inhospitable and unfamiliar areas in the course of their errands and quests. A journey requires the following tools, all included in this starter set. Player map of the traversed area, such as the large Eriador map in this box set. A Lore Master map with 20-mile hexagons, also included in the adventure. And a journey log, which is also available for download from the Free League Publishing website. So you'll set the journey path. You'll make marching tests. You will assign roles for your characters. We've got ending the journey, different events. And there you go. We have 24 pages of rules. I would say this booklet should hold up pretty well. It's one of the nicest cardstock covers that I've seen with starter sets. Sometimes a starter set is just, the cover is the same paper stock as the pages. Very nice. Tessie Trekkies with us in chat. Welcome aboard. All right, so this is the adventure. Keep in mind, if you're a player, gonna be some spoilers as we flip on through this. Overhill and Underhill. This booklet offers an introductory adventure designed to be played with the pre-generated player heroes included in the box set. If you're reading this, you are likely serving as the lore master. The majority of the text in this booklet is devoted to presenting the adventure, so players are encouraged not to read ahead to preserve the fun and excitement of discovery. Game statistics for all adversaries in the adventure can be found at the back of this booklet. Overhill and Underhill is divided into 3 parts, followed by an epilogue. Each part is expected to take about 1 hour of gameplay, with the final part likely taking twice as long. Completing the entire story in 1 day would require a serious time commitment. Really? That's 4 hours. And I get it. I understand. Gamers nowadays, they don't have the same amount of time available to them as we once did. But, 4 hours, that's not, I don't find that to be a serious time commitment. So we have part 1, a fateful meeting. The player heroes are enjoying a rare, quiet evening at the Prancing Pony when a hunter shares a story about discovering a hill in the North Downs with ancient standing stones and a terrifying vision he had while there. The next morning, the company sets out from Bree, heading north. After days of travel in the wild, they reach the Crowned Hill. So it's suggested to end the session after the journey as the company approaches the Crowned Hill. That's part 2. On a barren hilltop in the North Downs, the company finds proof of a long-forgotten threat. As they investigate, they're attacked by its servants. If they prevail, they continue their search and reach a ruined village of the Hillfolk, where they may discover more about the menace they face. Ideally, the second session should end here, with the company ready to journey further east. So, you're playing hour-long sessions? Chris Lundgren says if they put their damn phones down and played in-person games instead of Candy Crush, they could make the time. Chris also said they'd like to see a comparison of this box set to the original. But the reality is you can't buy the original anymore. So I don't know. I gotta say, I think it was more expensive. And it had some different decks of cards, if I remember correctly. I know it had different decks of cards. It did not have standees. I know that. So then we have part 3, Iron Jaws. The player heroes travel east, venturing deep into the dark regions of LotR. Once they reach their destination, they must brave an underground complex beneath sinister ruins. Here they will face formidable dangers, but might also find valuable treasures that could prove useful against, well, yeah, okay. Spoiler, I skipped it. So here we've got our fateful meeting. So it gives us a little information about the NPC that they meet. And a letter. Here's our journey. So got a couple of journey events. Then we get the Crowned Hill. I always like the maps for the One Ring and the Lord of the Ring role playing, of course. I always think they're pretty cool. They're pretty nice. So we have ruins there. I think the adventure is 16 or 17 pages in length. So we've got some dangerous encounters. And then we've got a layer. Here are our stat blocks for the enemies. As you can see, pretty short. Pretty short there. Kevin R. Smith says, I believe it had cards for equipment and weapons you could find in the adventures. Also had a card to show everybody's battle stances, though those rules weren't in the starter set. Yes, that's right. I remember that. Yeah, we had the deck of battle stance cards, and people were like, what am I supposed to do this with this? So there is the adventure. Here we've got our player heroes, our pre-gens. You're a daughter of guitar. No, I don't think that's probably how it is. So here we've got our character sheet. We've got our strength, heart, wits, the ratings. We've got our skills, combat proficiencies, and so forth, traveling gear. We got Regan Stone Fist. That is a dwarf. Bimberthil of the Havens. So that is an elf. Meant the North Tooks. So obviously that is a hobbit. Looks like another human. Really dig the artwork there. So we got handouts. That looks like our journey. Yep. It's for our journey there. And here is our map. Dual-sided. So here's our map of Eriador. And then that is one of the locations. So we've got that. Nice paper stock on the map here. And then we have got our standees. So looks like we've got some wargs, some goblins. Here we've got our player heroes. These are dual-sided. Nice. And then we actually have their names here, so you know who's who. Very cool. So that is what we find inside the One Ring starter set, over a hill and under a hill. So we've got the standees, the map, the pre-generated characters, or player heroes, I should say, as well as our journey sheet. We have our adventure over a hill and under a hill, as well as our rules. We've got stands for those standees. We have six-sided dice. These are custom dice. Those are success dice. And then we have our feat dice, which are the 12-sided dice. Chris Lundgren asks, is it their TV or is the video image slightly blurry? Hard to read on occasion. It is showing that this is in focus. I don't know. So, well, you know, you never know. I mean, it's in focus here, but it's possible. Let's see. Are we losing any frames here? Nope. No drop frames at all. Reed just joined us in chat. I believe this is a first time visit in chat for them. Said they just purchased this, but a lot of Canadian stores are postponing release due to tariffs. They were hoping to run it ASAP. You've bought it. So I guess I would say, see, if you had bought it from Free League Publishing, then you would have gotten the PDF right on purchase, but don't know. Once again, the One Ring starter set is identical to the Lord of the Rings role-playing starter set, except for the mechanics. And I believe you got 2 20-sided dice with this. I think you get the 6-siders too. It says a full set of transparent polyhedral dice. Now, so it's a set of polyhedrals, including 2 D20s engraved with the rune of Gandalf and the eye of Sauron. Very cool. Anyway, we're not going to take a peek at this because it's the same thing. It's just mechanically different. So, and different dice, but the standees, the adventure, the rules themselves, pretty much the same. So once again, these are available now. They do carry MSRPs of $24.99. They do include the PDF if you order from Free League Publishing. And of course, if you just want to grab the PDF, you can do so over at DriveThruRPG for $14.99. Very cool. Very nice. I will have a review in the not too distant future. Should be a pretty quick turnaround on the review since what is a grand total of about 40 pages to read. So, anywho, what's cooking for the rest of the week? Well, on tomorrow's show, I am going to unbox and take a first look at Fate Forge Chronicle of Khan from Mighty Boards. This is a pretty big box here. And then on Thursday's show, we're going to dive on in, take a peek at the Cypher System Core Rulebook from Monty Cook Games. Or no, you know what? We're going to do that a week from today. Because on Thursday's show, we're going to dive on in and take a look at the Wild Sea from MythWorks. Because I got some MythWorks stuff at Gen Con and want to start sharing peeks inside these. And of course, this is an award-winning role-playing game that I am very curious to take a peek at. So that's what we've got cooking for this week and into next. All right. So that is it for this time out. If you're watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live and took part in chat, an even bigger thank you, because not only are you keeping me company, you're also keeping each other company as I'm sharing the news and paging through booklets and books and unboxing stuff and so on and so forth. Chris Leonard asked, did I hear there's a new Horrified Dungeons & Dragons board game? Yes. I knew about it. It's from Ravensburger. Dice Tower showed it. Looks fantastic. I don't know. Elliot bought Horrified and said it was all right. So I don't know. All I can tell you. Anyway, but yes, I knew all about it. I've known about that for like a month, maybe more, because it was at Gen Con for Ravensburger. But, you know, everybody was in line at Ravensburger to get the Disney Lorcana stuff. Anyway, if you're watching live, took part in chat, thank you. Because like I said, not only are you keeping me company, you're also keeping each other company. But of course, I know a lot of folks out there, you don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Really do appreciate you taking time out to watch any of the over 2,300 videos here on the channel. And we just cracked 16,100 subscribers to the channel. Much appreciated with that as well. So anyway, if you like the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell, because it'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube. It'll also let you know when I share other videos, such as my review of Rivers of London in Liberty's Shadow from Chaosium Inc. I almost said in the Shadow of Liberty. No, it's in Liberty's Shadow, which actually I dug it. I thought it was pretty cool. I like Rivers of London, even though I'm not overly familiar with the novels by Ben Aramovich, if I remember correctly, is his last name. So check out the review if you have not. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and as always, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.